So they've taken Muzan to the final stage. The guy's been doing some he's doing this handiwork and trying to get everyone all settled out, but he was tricked. He was tricked thanks to Tomeo's demon. I can't remember his name, but little bowl cut guy, little cold cut guy, and he controlling up the upper moon number 4 and pretty much just altering what she was seeing. So what Muzan would see through her was a bunch of dead pillars and other people that were apparently in his mind dealt with, but reality was just a big fake. It was all just set up, and it just to completely misdirect him, to get him in a false sense of accomplishment. So when they showed up, he would be caught by surprise. He would have that he would just have that complete and total element of surprise struck on him to really just get his goat, as somewhat maybe say. Either way. And it was heavily like a Kanroji chapter, and some of the text, I don't know who translated it, but somebody's putting some weird translations there. I just think like Tomioka was uglier and gayer than she expected. I don't know. I don't know who did that. I really doubt that's the official translation of that text box, but I don't know. We'll see. And then one thing I was a little bit confused about, I guess maybe not like confused, but just from Kanroji when she was talking about like this Muzan was the scariest looking demon she'd come across. I mean, in terms of power and output, obviously, like he's the most powerful one they've seen, not just Muzan in general, but this advanced like weird monster mouth all over his body Muzan, and he's looking pretty intimidating. I mean, in reality, if you saw what he's doing physically, he's whipping around all these bladed limbs. I think it's the weird, creepy, the fact he can swipe a hand over somebody and it gets consumed is much creepier than, they're doing this parasite style big lashing of mutated blade arms. But as it were, the characters they're just trying to get set up. I mean, this chapter was just like, don't die, move around, try not to get murdered by Muzan within this short span of time. Oh, man, I forgot my music. One second. Let me start this up. There we go. Oh, wait, hang on. There we go. Okay, so with that, the characters, they're trying to figure out what exactly they can really do. They're dropping forms. You got just Genya just doing the best he can. All these guys are just hoping for a chance at Muzan, but in reality, like, all they're doing is stalling time. I mean, that's all they can really manage, because Muzan here, he was already hard to kill beforehand. He can really only die by the sun. Cutting off his head doesn't really do anything, and now not only is he dangerous, but his whole body is a giant maw. It's just one giant fanged mass of teeth that he can just alter at will, and just at any point, as long as he can get a hand on you, completely just consume everything on your body. And that alone, I think, makes him a lot more intimidating. The fact that all it takes is just a little hand touch, and that's it for him to have this done. But it's the fact that they're smart enough to know they need, for one, they need the environment. They need to have footing, and they need to have pretty much just an all-around maneuverability kind of like encounter in this case. It's not going to be some like, oh, we gotta have some really good choreographed fight. We gotta, all work together and just, get in close and cut his head off. No, they're pretty much just trying to crowd control him the best as possible. CC the hell out of him until they could get him topside in order to get sunlight on him. Because that's the only thing that really got at this point. Other than that, it's probably, sun breath abilities, I imagine, would be very effective, I guess, too. Oh, sorry about that. Oh. Anyway, you got maybe like Nezuko's blood. I mean, there are some variations of techniques and abilities that they can draw out here and use on him, but I don't really see what they're gonna do next. I mean, obviously they're gonna have a strategy. I mean, they're not dumb. They've got a lot of things set up and in place, and a lot of characters obviously all working together, a lot of minds melding and clashing in order to get this set up to take down Muzan. But at the end of the chapter, you see it's definitely night. Like when they get forced above ground after after a little struggle when Muzan just said screw it, kills the upper moon number 4. So, this whole area that she controls, her little dimension of doors and rooms, just breaks. They're all forced out above ground, and with that, they're back in the normal world. They're back in what they're wanting, but I mean, really, their best bet, like the best bet that he had, was to take full control over her, so Muzan didn't have that ability to kill her from a distance, and just CC him around, like literally just keep dropping him in rooms, completely just trying to like send him in, kind of like what was happening with Conroach earlier. It's like, oh, wait, she's coming around, getting ready to land a strike, bam, open a little portal door in front of her, she goes through it, and goes out a different zone, because that's really all they can really do right now. I'm trying to like really formulate an idea of how they're going to defeat Muzan, because if it's nighttime, should be considerable amount of time until the sun rises. I mean, it doesn't look like it's, oh yeah, 5 minutes or 10 minutes. It looks pretty dark out. And I mean, even if it's like sunrise, Muzan would still have plenty of time of getting away, hiding in the trees, doing something to escape. It's all on that question now of what can they do to stall him? And the characters are all really tired. They're all like worn down, beaten up. Like Tanjiro already like got his eye damaged, and I think he gets slashed again at one point in this chapter. I think he gets like his shoulder pretty well gouged. He was smart, like he got a good hit in though. He took a stray sword from one of the dead demon hunters and just straight threw it into the side of Muzan's head, saving Kanroji, which was good. One of the things that's a little bit weird about it is just there's no real kind of like connection between Muzan's feelings towards Tanjiro. Obviously, Tanjiro has hate for Muzan. He wants this. He's got like this almost blind rage against him. He just wants him gone. But Muzan just doesn't really care about him at all. He's just some other little demon slayer, a little demon hunting boy that is mad at him. As he said, like how many times he's come across somebody who's reminds him of some family member or loved one that was taken away because of Muzan, and Muzan's just like, I don't care. I've heard this story 1,000 times. None of you guys ever succeed. What are you really going to accomplish in trying to take me down here? It doesn't matter to me. Legitimately, though, like, just wrapping up, like, this chapter, I think, read faster than a lot of have recently, which is weird because there's a lot of text. It was a very dialogue-heavy chapter. I think it was just because a lot of it was heavily just action emotion. Like, there's a big wave of dialogue, and then, a lot of choreography, a lot of movement, and then just that last, like, couple pages were just... We're pretty much just action, and that Tanjiro getting that nice sword throw. Yeah, that must have been annoying. Even Immortal, and obviously that sword through his head isn't gonna really do any damage. I'm so curious to know what that would feel like of just having like a sword through your head. It would probably just, I don't know, feeling like maybe like sticking like a Q-tip as far in your ear as possible, and then imagining that times like 50. I don't know. Either way, pretty speedy run chapter, to be perfectly honest. Like, it's pretty easy to wrap up the idea. They're struggling over Upper Moon 4. I gotta force Muzan outside. All the other characters are just freaking out, not really sure what to do. But now that they're all above ground, I imagine that instead of all being scattered throughout the within this base, they're all gonna pretty much be pushed out and just all like kind of like popcorn out of the top, and be able to group together all at once against Muzan. So comment below, tell me your thought about what's going on and how you think this is going on with Muzan. Like, do you think there's anything they can really do outside of just straight crowd control this dude? Like, I can really see that is them being like, well, let's just do our best of being able to move him around until we can hopefully get him in the sunlight. But other than that, I really appreciate if you comment below. Tell me your thought about the chapter. Thumbs up the video, but from the like button and subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But that, I appreciate everybody's already subscribed. Thank you all for listening. Bye.